Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's a big one. We're looking at a no Haaland, no Salah draft, the two most expensive players in the game. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Let's get into it. Let's start with the defence, and I'm going Petrovic. Now he could be switched out for any of the Chelsea goalkeepers as they're all 4.5. There are reports that Sanchez is the front runner to be picked, but with their opening fixtures, I just can't look away from them. They've got Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton and Forest, all at the start of the season. Next is Mykolenko. Now I think he's a great way into the Everton defence, given Tarkowski and Braithwaite's rises. Everton had one of the best defences last season, and that back line is relatively unchanged. Trent's kept his spot from my original draft. I just can't look away from him at 7 million. Liverpool have great fixtures to start, with Ipswich, Brentford, Forest, Bournemouth and Wolves all in the first 6. I've said this time and time again. Trent last season was not Trent, in terms of fantasy anyway, and I can't see him having a season like last. The money saved from not owning Haaland or Salah shows here, with Guardiola. He cost 6 million, but we've got the funds to splash. He's one of the most owned defenders in the game at the time of recording at 30.9%, the second most just behind Saliba. He's a great asset to have considering how far forward he plays in the City defence. Let's move into the midfield, and as I said in the intro, we've got 5. Great for those extra goal and clean sheet points. Let's start with Aston Villa's Bailey. He scored 10 goals and got 11 assists last season, helping Aston Villa into the Champions League spots. He's a great price at 6.5 million. And the latest news is that Moussa Diaby, his main rival for position in the team, has signed a deal with a Saudi Arabian club, meaning Bailey could be a locked-in starter. Now let's move on to where the extra budget really shows itself. We've got Saka. Saka scored 16 goals last season, outperforming his XG. Also, he got 11 assists. Arsenal don't have the easiest start with Villa, Tottenham and Man City all in their first 5, but we all know what Saka can do. I'm sure he'll be on penalties as well. Costing 10 million, he's already owned by about 27% of managers. Now let's move on to the main man from last season, Cole Palmer. 56% of managers have decided to go with him at 10.5, not worried about the price increase at all. With Chelsea's opening fixtures, he's a great option. We can ignore City, although we know he can perform against any team. After City, they've got Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth and West Ham. Last season, Palmer scored 22 goals and got 13 assists, outperforming his XG and XA wildly. Another penalty taker as well. Will he carry on his rich vein of form? Next is Gordon. He cost 7.5 million. Last season, he was one of Newcastle's standout players, netting 11 times and getting 16 assists. Unused by Gareth Southgate in the Euros, fatigue shouldn't be an issue. He should be able to start the season flying. Making up the 5 is Eze. Possibly another penalty taker, and a great asset to have at 7 million. With Elise's departure, I'm not sure whether this will negatively or positively affect Eze. All the attack might go through him, but if he's the only one threatening, this could make Crystal Palace very one-dimensional. Up top, we've got Watkins and Isak. Watkins scored 19 goals and got 18 assists last season. And the fixture run at the start isn't too bad either. They've got West Ham, Arsenal, Leicester, Everton, Wolves and Ipswich all in the first 6. He was the highest scoring forward last season, even outscoring Haaland. He's got a brilliant eye for goal, shown in the semi-final against the Netherlands. With Douglas Luiz's departure as well, he might even be on penalties. I know technically they played in the Conference League last season, but they're in the Champions League now. You never know whether those extra games can fatigue you later on in the season. Perhaps that's thinking too far ahead. Last of the 11 is Alexander Isak. Decided to double up on the Newcastle attack with Gordon and Isak. Isak scored 21 goals last season, and there are reports that Wilson's injured. Surprise, surprise. So he's literally guaranteed to start. He might have been anyway. Also another guaranteed penalty taker in the team. Watkins and Isak both have ownerships of over 50%, so this could be a pretty template front line. Moving on to the subs, and we've got Turner at 4 million. Any 4 million goalkeeper will do for me, but with the extra 1 million budget, you could upgrade if you want. We've also got Harwood Bellis, Southampton at 4 million. Leicester's centre-back pairing of Vestergaard and Fairs are both 4 million as well. They had a better defence than Southampton in the Championship, but probably don't have the same attacking upside as Howard Bellis. Our last defender is Fulham's Robinson. He costs 4.5. They've got a few nice games in the opening 6, Leicester, Ipswich, West Ham and Forest. Could interchange with Mikalenko quite well. Last but not least, we've got João Pedro. He looks like the budget pick of the forwards at 5.5. However, the latest news is that he hasn't travelled with the team for their pre-season in Japan. He stayed at home to rehab. Who knows if he'll be fit for the start of the season. Another option at the same price point is Southampton's Armstrong. He scored 24 goals in the Championship last season, but some would say that's his level. He's played in the Premier League before and not really made an impact. Let's see how this team compares to the one with Haaland and Salah. Fantasy Football Hub actually has this team rated at 90%, 1% higher than Haaland and Salah, at 89. It also predicts more points in the first game week, 63.1 to 61.3, and an overall game week rating of 88% versus 86%. All that, and we've got an extra million in the bank. Let's have a look at some of the options that extra million gives. Firstly, the goalkeeper position. You could improve the Chelsea goalkeeper up to David Raya with the extra million. He costs 5.5 and he's a great way into the Arsenal defence. Despite Arsenal's defence being better than Chelsea's, I think the fixtures speak for themselves. As we saw with Saka earlier, Arsenal's first 5 are quite difficult. Chelsea's are a hell of a lot easier. If you're set on the Arsenal defence, you could also upgrade Guardiola to white. He scored 182 points last season, the highest scoring defender in the whole game. On the other hand, if you're not so sure about Arsenal's start, there's a few more than adequate options to replace Saka. First being Tottenham's Son. He's 10 million, and by far Tottenham's best player. He scored 17 goals last season and got 10 assists. Another option is last year's player of the season, Phil Foden, and this will actually save you 0.5 million. Foden's grown into one of the world's best. He got 19 goals last season and 8 assists, cementing his space in Pep Guardiola's starting 11. City also have a relatively good start to the season, but I won't really worry about fixtures when it comes to them. All of their players are top quality and can score against anyone. So there we have it. That's what you can do without Haaland and Salah. Looks pretty tasty to me. Let me know if it's tempted you to go without them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Catch you in a bit. There's plenty more content coming.